Shabbat Shalom. Well, it is the middle of April. Tax day is over. Praise Yah. Today's April the 18th, 2026. And if you're keeping track, it is the 14th day of the Omar count. This week, we're going to have a double portion. It's going to be Tezria, which means she will conceive, and Metzera, which is leper. It's going to be reading from Leviticus 12, verse 1 through 16, verse 33. Then we'll move into Isaiah chapter 66, which is on page 465, and Revelation 21, verses 1 through 8, which is on page 1215. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start on page 115 in the scripture, and that is Leviticus 12. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a woman has conceived and has given birth to a male, then she shall be unclean for 7 days, as in the days of her monthly separation she is unclean. And on the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin is circumcised, and she remains in the blood of her cleansing 33 days. She does not touch whatever is set apart, and she does not come into the set apart place until the days of her cleaning are complete. But if she gives birth to a female child, then she shall be unclean for 2 weeks, as in her monthly separation, and she remains in the blood of her cleansing for 66 days. And when the days of her cleansing are complete for a son or for a daughter, she brings to the priest a lamb a year old as an ascending offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove as the sin offering to the door of the tent of appointment. And she shall bring it before Yahweh and make atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the flow of her blood. This is the Torah for her who has given birth to a male or a female. And if she is not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one as an ascending offering and the other as a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for her, and she shall be clean." And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, "When a man has on the skin of his body a swelling, a scab, or a bright spot, and it shall become on the skin of his body as a leprous infection, then he shall be brought to Aharon the priest, or to one of his sons the priests. And the priest shall look at the infection on the skin of the body, and if the hair on the infection is turned white, and the infection appears to be deeper than the skin of his body, it is a leprous infection. And the priest shall look at him and pronounce him unclean. And if the bright spot is white on the skin of the body and does not appear to be deeper than the skin, and its hair has not turned white, then the priest shall shut up the infection 7 days. And the priest shall look at him on the 7th day and see. If the infection appears to be as it was, and the infection is not spread on the skin, then the priest shall shut him up another 7 days. And the priest shall look at him again on the 7th day and see. If the infection is darkened, and the infection is not spread on the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is a scab, and he shall wash his garments and be clean. But if the scab spreads further over the skin, after he has been seen by the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen by the priest again, and the priest shall look and see. And if scab has spread on the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy. When the infection of leprosy is on the man, then he shall be brought to the priest. And the priest shall look and see. If the swelling on the skin is white, and it has turned the hair white, and there is a spot of raw flesh in the swelling, it is an old leprosy on the skin of his body, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean. he does not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if leprosy spreads out all over the skin, and the leprosy shall cover all the skin of the infected one, from his head to his foot, wherever the priest looks, then the priest shall look and see. If the leprosy has covered all his body, he shall pronounce the infected one clean. It has all turned white. He is clean. But the day raw flesh appears on him, he is unclean. And the priest shall look at the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean. The raw flesh is unclean. It is leprosy. Or when the raw flesh changes and turns white again, he shall come to the priests, and the priests shall look at him and see. If the infection has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce the infected one clean. He is clean. And when the body has a boil in the skin, and it is healed, and in the place of the boil there comes a white swelling or a bright spot, reddish white, then it shall be seen by the priests. And the priest shall look and see, and if it appears deeper than the skin, and its hair has turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous infection which is broken out of the boil. But if the priest looks at it and sees no white hairs in it, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it has spread further over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous infection. But if the bright spot stays in its place and is not spread, it's a scar of a boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or when the body receives a burn on the skin by fire, and the raw flesh of the burn shall become a bright spot, reddish white or white, then the priest shall look at it and see. If the hair of the bright spot has turned white, and it appears deeper than the skin, it is leprosy broken out on the burn, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous infection. But if the priest looks at it and sees there are no white hairs in the bright spot, it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And the priest shall look at him on the 7th day. If it is spread further over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous infection. But if the bright spot stays in its place and is not spread on the skin, but has faded, it's a swelling from the burn. And the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is the scar from the burn. And when a man or a woman has an infection on the head or in the beard, then the priest shall look at the infection and see. If it appears deeper than the skin, and there is thin yellow hair in it, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is an eruption, the leprosy of the head or beard. But when the priest looks at the infection of the eruption and sees that it does not appear deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up the one with the infection of the eruption 7 days. And on the 7th day the priest shall look at the infection and see. If the eruption is not spread, and there is no yellow hair in it, and the eruption does not appear deeper than the skin, then he shall shave himself, but the eruption he does not shave. And the priest shall shut up the one with the eruption another 7 days. And on the 7th day the priest shall look at the eruption and see. If the eruption has not spread over the skin and does not appear deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. And he shall wash his garments, and he shall be clean. And if the eruption spreads further over the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look at him and see. If the eruption is spread over the skin, the priest need not seek for yellow hair. He is unclean. But if the eruption appears to have stayed, and there are black hairs growing up in it, the eruption has healed, and he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. And when a man or a woman has bright spots on his skin of his body, white bright spots, Then the priest shall look and see. If the bright spot on the skin of the body are dull white, it is a white spot that grows on the skin, and he is clean. And when a man loses the hair of his head, he is bald, and he is clean. And if the hair has fallen from his forehead, he is bald on the forehead, but he is clean. And when there is on the bald head or bald forehead a reddish-white infection, it is leprosy breaking out on his bald head or his bald forehead. And the priest shall look at it and see. If the swelling of the infection is reddish-white on the bald head or on the bald forehead, as the appearance of leprosy on the skin of the body, he is a leprous man, and he is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him unclean without fail. His infection is on his head. As for the leper who has the infection, his garments are torn, and his head is uncovered, and he has to cover his upper lip and cry, "Unclean, unclean." He is unclean all the days he has the infection. He is unclean. He is unclean, and he dwells alone. His dwelling place is outside the camp. And when a garment has an infection of leprosy in it, in a woolen garment or in a linen garment, or in the warp or in the weft of a linen or wool, or in leather or in any leather work, and the infection shall be greenish or reddish, if the garment is in the leather, or in the warp or the weft, or in any leather object, it is an infection of leprosy, and shall be shown to the priest. And the priest shall look at the infection and shut up the infected 7 days. And he shall look at the infection on the 7th day, and when the infection has spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in the leather, or any leather work, the infection is an active leprosy, and it is unclean. And he shall burn that garment, or the warp, or the weft, in wool or in linen, or any leather object in which the infection is, for it is an active leprosy, and it is burned with fire. But if the priest looks and sees that the infection is not spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in any leather object, then the priest shall give command, and they shall wash that in which the infection is, and he shall shut it up another 7 days. And the priest shall look at the infection after it has been washed and see. If the infection is not changed in appearance, though the infection has not spread, it is unclean, and burn it with fire. It is eaten away in its inside or outside. And if the priest shall look and see that the infection is faded after washing it, then he shall tear it out of the garment, or out of the warp, or out of the weft, or out of the leather. And if it is still seen in the garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in any leather object, it is a spreading infection. Burn it with fire. That in which is infected is. And if you wash the garment, or the warp, or the weft, of any leather object, if the infection has disappeared from it, then it shall be washed a 2nd time, and shall be clean. This is the Torah of the infection of leprosy in a garment of wool or linen, or in the warp or in the weft of any leather object, to pronounce it clean, or to pronounce it unclean. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, This shall be the Torah for the leper of the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall go out of the camp, and the priest shall look and see if the leprosy is healed in the leper. Then the priest shall command, and he shall take for him who is to be cleansed 2 live and clean birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command, and he shall slay one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. Let him take the live bird, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and dip them, and the live bird in the blood of the bird that was slain over the running water. And he shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed from the leprosy, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the live bird loose in the open field. And he who is to be cleansed shall wash his garments, shall shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, and shall be clean. Then, after he has come into the camp, he shall stay outside his tent 7 days. And on the 7th day it is to be that he shaves all the hair of his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all the hair he shaves off. And he shall wash his garments, and wash his body in water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 male lambs, perfect ones, and 1 ewe lamb, a year old, a perfect one, and 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, and 1 log of oil. And the priest who is cleansing shall present the man who is to be cleansed with these offerings before Yahweh at the door of the tent of appointment. And the priest shall take 1 male lamb, and bring it as a guilt offering, and the log of oil, and wave them as a wave offering before Yahweh. And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he slays the sin offerings and the ascending offerings in the set-apart place. For the guilt offering, like the sin offering, belongs to the priests. It is most set apart. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the guilt offering, and the priest shall put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil, and pour it into the palm of his own left hand. And the priest shall dip his right finger into the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle some of the oil with his finger 7 times before Yahweh. And of the rest of the oil in his hand, the priest shall put some on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on the blood of the guilt offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he puts on the head of him who is to be cleansed, and the priest shall make atonement for him before Yahweh. And the priest shall make the sin offering, and make atonement for him who is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. Then afterwards he slays the ascending offering, and the priest shall offer the ascending offering and the grain offerings on the slaughter place. And the priest shall make atonement for him, and he shall be clean. But if he is poor and is unable to afford it, then he shall take 1 male lamb as a guilt offering to be waved, to make atonement for him, and 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, and a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to afford. And 1 shall be a sin offering, and the other an ascending offering. And he shall bring them to the priest on the 8th day for his cleansing, to the door of the tent of appointment before Yahweh. And the priest shall take the lamb of the guilt offering, and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them as a wave offering before Yahweh. And he shall slay the lamb of the guilt offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the guilt offerings, and put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the right thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Then the priest pours some of the oil into the palm of his own left hand, and the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before Yahweh. And the priest shall put some of the oil that is in his hand on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot, on the place of the blood of the guilt offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he puts on the head of him who is to be cleansed, to make atonement for him before Yahweh. And he shall prepare 1 of the turtle doves or 2 pigeons, such as he is able to afford. That which he is able to afford, the one as a sin offering, and the other as an ascending offering, with the grain offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him who is to be cleansed before Yahweh. This is the Torah for one who has had an infection of leprosy, who is unable to afford for his cleansing. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, When you come into the land of Canaan, which I am giving to you as a possession, and I put a plague of leprosy in a house in the land of your possession, then shall the one who owns the house come and inform the priest, saying, It seems to me that there is some plague in the house. And the priest shall command, and they shall empty the house before the priest goes in to look at the plague, so that all that is in the house is not made unclean. And after the priest goes in to look at the house, and he shall look at the plague and see if the plague is on the walls of the house with sunken places, greenish or reddish, which appear to be deep in the wall. Then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house and shut up the house for 7 days. And the priest shall come again on the 7th day and look and see. If the plague is spread on the walls of the house, then the priest shall command, and they shall remove the stones of the plague in them, and they shall throw them outside the city into an unclean place. Well, he lets the house be scraped inside, all around, and the dust which they scrape off, they shall pour out in an unclean place outside the city. And they shall take their stones and put them in the place of those stones, and take another mortar and plaster the house. And if the plague comes back and breaks out in the house after he has removed the stones, after he has scraped the house, and after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look and see. If the plague has spread in the house, it is an active leprosy in the house, and it is unclean. And he shall break down the house, its stones and its timber, and all the plaster of the house, and he shall bring them outside the city to an unclean place. And he who goes into the house all the day while it is shut up becomes unclean until evening. And he who lies down in the house has to wash his garments, and he who eats in the house has to wash his garments. However, if the priest indeed comes in and looks and sees that the plague has not spread in the house after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And to cleanse the house, he shall take 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop, and he shall slay one of the birds at the eastern vessel over running water. In an earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the live bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird and in the running water, and shall sprinkle the house 7 times, and shall thus cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and the running water, and the live bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. And he shall let the live bird loose outside the city in an open field, and shall make atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. This is the Torah for an infection of leprosy and eruption, and for leprosy of a garment and of a house, and for a swelling, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it is clean. This is the Torah of leprosy. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When any man has a discharge from his flesh, his discharge is unclean. And this is his uncleanness in regard to his discharge, whether his flesh runs with his discharge, or his flesh is stopped up by his discharge. It is his uncleanness. Any bed becomes unclean on which he who has the discharge lies, and any object on which he sits becomes unclean. And anyone who touches his bed has to wash his garments, and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. And he who sits on any object on which he has the discharge set has to wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And he who touches the flesh of him who has the discharge has to wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And when he who has the discharge spits on him who is unclean, then he shall wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Any saddle on which he who has the discharge rides becomes unclean, and whoever touches any of that which is under him is unclean until evening. And he who carries them up has to wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And anyone whom he has the discharge touches, without rinsing his hands in water, shall wash his garments, and bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And the earthen vessel which he who has the discharge touches has to be broken. And every wooden vessel has to be rinsed in water. And when he who has the discharge is cleansed of his discharge, then he shall count for himself 7 days for his cleansing, and shall wash his garments, and shall bathe his flesh in running water, and be clean. And on the 8th day he takes for himself 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and shall come before Yahweh to the door of the tent of appointment, and shall give them to the priests. And the priest shall prepare them, the one as a sin offering, and the other as an ascending offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him before Yahweh, because of his discharge. And when a man has an emission of semen, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until evening. And any garment and any leather on which there is semen shall also be washed with water, and be unclean until evening. And when a woman lies with a man, and there is an emission of semen, they shall both bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And when a woman has a discharge, and the discharge from her flesh is blood, she has to be in her separation for 7 days. And whoever touches her is unclean until evening. And whatever she lies on during her separation is unclean, and whatever she sits on is unclean. And anyone who touches her bed has to wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And whoever washes an object that she sat on has to wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And if it is on the bed, or on any object on which she sits, when he touches it, he is unclean until evening. And if a man lies with her at all, and her monthly flow is on him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And any bed he lies on is unclean. And when a woman has a discharge of blood for many days, other than at the time of her monthly separation, or when she discharges beyond her usual time of monthly separation, all the days of her uncleanness discharge shall be as the days of her monthly separation. She is unclean. Any bed on which she lies, all the days of her discharge, is to her as the bed of her monthly separation, and whatever she sits on is unclean, as the uncleanness of her monthly separation. And anyone who touches them is unclean, and shall wash his garments, and shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. But if she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count for herself 7 days, and after that she is clean. And on the 8th day she takes for herself 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and shall bring them to the priest to the door of the tent of appointment. And the priest shall prepare the one as a sin offering, and the other as an ascending offering. And the priest shall make atonement for her before Yahweh for the discharge of her uncleanness. Thus you shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, lest they die in their uncleanness when they defile my dwelling place, which is in their midst. This is the Torah for one who has a discharge, and for him who emits semen and is unclean thereby, and for her who is sick in her monthly separation, and for one who has a discharge, either man or woman, and for him who lies with an unclean woman. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe after the death of the two sons of Aharon, as they drew near before Yahweh and died. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Speak to Aharon your brother, not to come in at all. Let's see. Speak to Aharon your brother, not to come in at all times to the set apart place inside the veil, before the lid of atonement, which is on the ark, lest he die, because I appear in the cloud above the lid of atonement. With this, Aharon should come into the set apart place with the blood of a young bull as a sin offering, and of a ram as an ascending offering. He shall put on the set apart linen long shirt, with linen trousers on his flesh, and gird himself with a linen girdle, and be dressed with the linen turban. They are set apart garments. And he shall bathe his body in water, and shall put them on. And from the congregation of the children of Israel he takes 2 male goats as a sin offering, and 1 ram as an ascending offering. And Aharon shall bring the bull as a sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats, and let them stand before Yahweh at the door of the tent of appointment. And Aharon shall cast lots for the 2 goats, 1 lot for Yahweh, and the other lot for Azazel. And Aharon shall bring the goat on which the lot for Yahweh fell, and shall prepare it as a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot for Azazel fell is caused to stand alive before Yahweh, to make atonement upon it, to send it into the wilderness to Azazel. And Aharon shall bring the bull of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house, and shall slay the bull as a sin offering, which is for himself, and shall take the fire holder filled with burning coal of fire from the slaughter place before Yahweh, with his hands filled with sweet incense beaten fine, and shall bring it inside the veil. And he shall put the incense on the fire before Yahweh, and the cloud of incense shall cover the lid of atonement, which is on the witness, lest he die. And he shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his fingers on the lid of atonement on the east side. Also in front of the lid of atonement he sprinkles some of the blood with his fingers 7 times. And he shall slay the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, and shall bring its blood inside the veil, and shall do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it on the lid of atonement, and in front of the lid of atonement. And he shall make atonement for the set apart place, because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgressions and all their sins. And so he does for the tent of appointment, which is dwelling with them in the midst of their uncleanness. And no man should be in the tent of appointment when he goes in to make atonement for the set apart place, until he comes out. And he shall make atonement for himself and for all his household, and for all the assembly of Israel. And he shall go out to the slaughter place that is before Yahweh, and make atonement for it. And he shall take some of the blood of the bull and some of the blood of the goat, and put it on the horns of the slaughter place all around. And he shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and set it apart from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. And when he has finished atoning for the set apart place, and the tent of atonement, and the slaughter place, he shall bring the live goat. And Aharon shall lay his hands on the head of the live goat, and shall confess over it all the crookednesses of the children of Israel, and all their transgressions in all their sins, and shall put them on the head of the goat, and shall send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a fit man. And the goat shall bear on itself all the crookednesses to the land cut off. Thus he shall send the goat away into the wilderness. Aharon shall then come into the tent of appointment, and shall take off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the set-apart place, and shall leave them there. And he shall bathe his body in water in the set-apart place, and shall put on his garments, and shall come out and prepare his ascending offering and the ascending offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people, and burn the fat of the sin offering on the slaughter place. And he who sent away the goat to Azazel washes his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterwards he comes into the camp. And the bull of the sin offering, and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the set-apart place, is brought outside the camp, and they shall burn their skins and their flesh and their dung with fire. And he who burns them washes his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterwards he comes into the camp. And this shall be for you a law forever. In the 7th new moon, on the 10th day of the new moon, you afflict your being, and do no work. You afflict your beings, and you do no work, the native or the sojourner who sojourns among you. For on that day he makes atonement for you, to cleanse you, to be clean from all your sins before Yahweh. It is a Sabbath of rest for you, and you shall afflict your being, a law forever. And the priest who is anointed and ordained to serve as priest in his father's place shall make atonement, and shall put on the linen garments, the set-apart garments, and he shall make atonement for the most set-apart place, and make atonement for the tent of appointment, and for the slaughter place, and make atonement for the priests, and for all the people of the assembly. And that is the Torah portion concerning leprosy. Now we're going to turn to Isaiah, and that is going to start on page 465. And we're going to read chapter 66. Thus said Yahweh, the heavens are my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you built for me? And where is this place of my rest? And all these my hand has made, and all these that exist, declares Yahweh. Yet to such a one I look, on him who is poor and bruised of spirit, and who trembles at my word. But whoever slays the bull strikes a man. Whoever slaughters the lamb breaks a dog's neck. Whoever brings a grain offering, pig's blood. Whoever burns incense blesses an idol. Indeed, they have chosen their own ways, and their being delights in their abominations. I shall also choose their punishments and bring their fears on them, because I called, but no one answered. I spoke, and they did not hear, and they did evil before my eyes and chose what was displeasing to me. Hear the word of Yahweh, you who tremble at his word, your brothers who hate you, who cast you out for my name's sake, said, let Yahweh be esteemed, so that we see your joy. But they are put to shame. a roaring sound from the city, a voice from the Hakel, the voice of Yahweh repaying his enemies. Before she labored, she gave birth. Before a pain came to her, she was delivered of a male. Who has heard the like of this? Who has seen the like of these? Is a land brought forth in one day? Is a nation born at once? For as soon as Zion labored, she gave birth to her child. Shall I bring birth and not give delivery, says Yahweh? Shall I who give delivery restrain birth, said your Elohim? Rejoice with Yerushalayim and be glad with her, all you who love her. Rejoice greatly with her, all you who mourn for her, so that you feed and shall be satisfied with the breast of her comforts, so that you drink deeply and shall delight yourselves in her overflowing esteem. For thus says Yahweh, see, I am extending peace to her like a river, and the esteem of the nations like a flowing stream. And you shall feed, you shall be carried on the side and be fondled on her knees. As one whom his mother comforts, so I comfort you. And in Yerushalayim you are comforted. And you shall see, and your heart shall rejoice, and your bones flourish as tender grass. And the hand of Yahweh shall be known to his servants, and his displeasure to his enemies. For look, Yahweh comes with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his displeasure with burning and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword Yahweh shall judge all flesh. And the stain of Yahweh shall be many, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. Those who set themselves apart and cleanse themselves at the garden, after one in the midst, eating flesh of pigs, and the abomination and the mouse are snatched away together, declares Yahweh. And I, because of their works and their imaginations, am coming together all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my esteem. And I shall set a sign among them, and shall send some of those who escape to the nations. Tarshish and Pul and Lud, who draw the bow, and Tubal and Yawan, the coastland afar off, who have not heard my report, nor seen my esteem, and they shall declare my esteem among the nations. And they shall bring all your brothers as an offering to Yahweh out of all the nations, on horses and in chariots and in litters, on mules and on camels, to my set-apart mountain, Yerushalayim, declares Yahweh. As the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of Yahweh. And from them too I shall take for priests, for Levites, declares Yahweh. For as the new heavens and the new earth that I make stand before me, declares Yahweh, so your seed and your name shall stand. And it shall be that from new moon to new moon, and from Sabbath to Sabbath, all flesh shall come to worship before me, declares Yahweh. And they shall go forth and look upon the corpses of the men who have transgressed before me, for their worm shall not die, and their fire not be quenched, and they shall be repulsive to all flesh. And as you can imagine from that reading, we are going to be going to the book of Revelation. and we're going to be reading out of chapter 21, which starts on page 1215. And we're going to read verses 1 through 8. And I saw a renewed heaven and a renewed earth, for the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea is no more. And I, Yohanan, saw the set-apart city, renewed Jerusalem, coming down out of the heavens from Elohim, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the heavens saying, "See, the booth of Elohim is with men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Elohim himself shall be with them and be their Elohim. And Elohim shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, nor mourning, nor crying, and there shall be no more pain, for the former matters have passed away." And he who was sitting on the throne said, "See, I make all matters new." And he said to me, "Write, for these words are true and trustworthy." And he said to me, "It is done. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. To the one who thirsts, I shall give of the fountain of the water of life without payment. The one who overcomes shall inherit all this, and I shall be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. But as for the cowardly, the untrustworthy, the abominable, and the murderers, and those who whore, and drug sorcerers, and idolaters, and all the false, their part is in the lake which burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death." These words hit me every time I read them. I had grown up learning so many different things, about the end times, and, we're all going to go to heaven and be with Jesus and play harps and be around, I don't know, naked babies, all the cherubim, the naked babies flying around, and none of that is in the Word. It took me reading the Word for myself and not taking anything that anyone else told me, but only marking it with the Word. There were so many things that I saw differently. But to live in a renewed heaven and a renewed earth, in the set-apart city, the renewed Jerusalem, which comes down out of the heavens from Elohim. Man, I can just close my eyes and see it in all its glory coming down for us to dwell with him as he tabernacles with us. Well, have a wonderful Shabbat. And it's also the new month, so have a wonderful Rosh Chodesh. Some people celebrated it last night, some people tonight. So just rest in him. Have a wonderful week. Shabbat Shalom.